Hey there, it's Rusty Nelson, your college art professor, and we're talking watercolor today. So I think we are talking episode 26 of season 2, like that matters. I think last week I talked about how I was categorizing this vlog as a or podcast. I guess there's a difference between vlog and podcast, and I'm categorizing it as both. So I'll hopefully be doing it correctly one of these days if I ever get my shit together. Oh, let's see here. Oh well, I know what it is. I'm starting my July 3 weeks of teaching seventh, eighth, and ninth graders animation up at the university this week, starting out today. So it's my first day, and hopefully, I'm going to be able to continue getting a talking watercolor for the next 3 weeks and maybe one tutorial every week. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I think I can do it. And I've got a little time. I don't have to start work up at the university until 9. So if I get up early, I'll be able to get in here and maybe crank out a couple down and dirty tutorials each week. I don't think I can pull off two. We'll see. If I feel real frisky, I might be able to do two if I'm lucky. So I shot some figure drawing things for an upcoming drawing day tutorial. But yeah, so again, if you are really doing a lot of figure drawing and using my channel, I haven't been real dedicated to getting good figure drawing content out there, but essentially it's another session where we're just warming up and making basic marks and things like that for 5-10 minutes before, if you're going to sit down and do a figure drawing session, like it's a figure drawing class or something, sit down and make some marks and just warm up, and then move into basic shapes and just warm up your 3D shapes, uh, cylinders, spheres, cross contour marks, and stuff like that. Just warm up. It's the best thing you can do if you're going to be drawing figures, and then move into doing 10, 15, 20 different mannequin poses, and get out there onto your Pinterest board and save a bunch of different figure poses and stuff like that. It will definitely start populating your Pinterest page with a lot of interesting suggestions for your Pinterest boards and stuff like that. So get out there and start making nose pins to a board that you make, and then you can just jump right in and practice those poses. Practice both static and dynamic poses, and get a good handle on capturing the rhythm of the flow through the body with that stick figure, with that mannequin. And then you can start layering in all the mass, the shapes, the cylinders, capturing contour edges, the muscles, the lighting, the modeling, and all that in a more extended pose. So definitely don't think of this as a means of creating artwork yet. You're really developing a lot of muscle memory and an understanding of the human figure, and you can get really deep into that. But just training yourself to see and observe carefully will be a good starting off point to getting good at figure drawing. So, and again, go over to my website. The link's in the description, and I have two Loomis resources. It's Figure Drawing for All It's Worth and Drawing Heads and Hands by Andrew Loomis. They're old PDFs from the Library of Congress, or no, it was archive.org, I think it was. And you can download those. They're free. There's no cost involved whatsoever. And I do have a Bridgman method PDF from archive.org as well that you can download and go through that. And I mean, it will give you hours. These two guys, I mean, there's others too. Riley Method. I'm still looking for a good book on the Riley Method. We also have Drawing with Force. That's a good book. I think I have that book listed in my description, video description as well. So those are all really good figure drawing reference points, and hopefully, these quick little drawing sessions that I do for the channel, it's really kind of what I do to warm up and work with figure drawing in my drawing classes. I don't worry about drawing artwork in my figure drawing courses. We're learning how to draw the figure reliably and accurately with some sense of proportion and ability to see and observe the figure and get it down onto a piece of paper with character and flair. And that's where that warming up, making marks at the beginning of the drawing session really comes into play. So, and I did address last week, oh, by the way, I forgot I jumped right into this. I didn't do my intro. Hi, everybody, new viewers and everybody who's bouncing into Talking Watercolor. You're in a good location because I am a college art professor, soon to retire, and that's why I'm doing this channel, is to kind of get anybody who's approaching retirement, in retirement, maybe mid-career, and you want to get back into a creative journey. Maybe you've set it aside for a number of years. Maybe you've never done it before. You're wanting to learn how to do it, to stay active and just develop some creative chops because it's fun, right? That it looks fun because it is fun. It's frustrating, but I think hopefully if you're on this channel, I'm going to be able to impart some of the lessons that I give my college students, my 20-year-olds up at the university, get them up off the ground, because we get a lot of students up there that really didn't do a lot of art in high school, right? They may have had other interests and things like that. So they're coming into us. The average person, when they come into an art class, if they didn't do it in high school, anything like that, they're coming into us at about a third or a fourth grade level of understanding of art. So we really do have to take those students in our foundation observational drawing class, drawing one, and get them up to speed within a semester, within 15 weeks. And that's kind of what I'm doing here. Our second layer of drawing is figure drawing. So we take them and drop them in the deep end of the pool. After observational drawing one, we drop them into figure drawing and really start honing those observational skills with this. And this is the stuff that I typically do in my drawing class. So that I lead into that, telling you what the channel's about and what I do in my classes up at the university, mainly because I did have a good comment about how to address fear factor. And I definitely talked a little bit about that last week in Talking Watercolor. And it is a thing. It's that idea that everything you're doing, if you're drawing, if you don't draw it perfect that first time, you get frustrated and you don't want to do it because it looks like crap. And I always tell the students, you got a certain amount of crap you got to get out of you. That's what the whole point of all the practice and these drawing sessions, 3 times a week, 2-3 times a week, you have to do that. You are developing that hand, that eye, and that understanding of what you're seeing and getting it down. So it just is, it's like learning music. It's like a song, an instrument, anything like that. You have to practice and get better at it. And that in itself will address the fear factor. Fear factor of that big, scary white sheet of paper. That first mark is always that stressful thing. And a lot of times you'll see this in some of the things you might see on Instagram or on YouTube, where people just come in and just make random marks on the paper. It looks like crap. They're just essentially making the paper acceptable for what they want to do to it, right? And they're just really kind of saying, to hell with it. It doesn't matter what marks I make at this stage. And it's a method they've learned to overcome the fear of that big blank sheet of paper, whether it's drawing, charcoal, graphite, watercolor, painting, that big white bare canvas with oil paints and everything. It's the same thing. You'll see people just really kind of prepping the surface, getting an undertone and undercolor and underpainting started, just so that it takes that pristine nature away from the task that is in front of you, right? You've already made the mark, you're committed. And I think that is a key thing to work with in overcoming fear factor on getting started. So let's see, I had another person asking about brushes and the things that I use. I'm not a big brush snob. I have all sorts of brushes, and I've been pretty spoiled as a university instructor because I get a certain amount of research money, and I'll buy and mess around with various types of brushes. So I've never bought super expensive brushes. Maybe someday I'll treat myself in retirement to some really expensive brushes and things. But Uh, when I was transitioning out of college, I think I've told this story a time or two about in college working with oil and watercolor paints, and I could never get the effects that the people I liked looking at. But I was fascinated with the styles, and I came to realize that it was a wet medium. So I started working with gouache, which is an opaque watercolor, and it's very forgiving. It paints a lot like oil and acrylic. But it over time evolved into a more watercolorish technique. And the brushes that I used for gouache were typically angled brushes and flat brushes and a few rounds for details and things like that. But when I started moving over into watercolors, the guy, I remember watching this, and I'd show my illustration kids this guy. I think his name was Terry Madden. I think he was on PBS, and I'd show the beginning watercolor course to my illustration class that he had out on VHS tape. That's how long ago that was. And I was actually paying attention and started picking up on it. But he was a flat brush artist. So that's kind of what I started doing with watercolor and the brushes. So I definitely have a range of brushes of flats, anywhere from an inch to my biggest watercolor brush, my flat. I use this a lot for big washes and stuff. So, and the big tip for watercolor, no matter what, whether you're using a flat or a round, is use as big a brush as you can get away with. I mean, oversize the brush with when you're painting, and you can really block in and do a lot with your watercolor. And that's the cool thing about watercolor, is in that initial stage when you're blocking in all those basic shapes and colors, the underpainting, that you're going to be doing all the rest of the work on the additional saturated shapes and the detail, the textures, and all of that. That is why I think I gravitated towards watercolor, especially as I got older. I became less and less patient about spending 8 to 10 to 12 hours on a single illustration or a piece of artwork. So that's what I really liked about watercolor, was that I could do almost any size watercolor within a 2 to 3 hour work window. So I was getting really frustrated with having multiple sessions over a number of days or a number of weeks, sitting down and trying to get back into the groove of that painting. And everything I was doing when I had multiple sessions, extended sessions, and long periods of work, everything tightened up. And I hated that. Now that's my nature, is to tighten up. So anyway, that's one thing. Round brushes and mops, I'm working real hard to get better and understand mops and rounds a little better, and the types of marks that you can make with it. So no matter what you do, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just a matter of what works best for you, and you'll discover that just by experimenting. So anyway, hey, I think I've talked just about the whole length of my allotted time here. So hey, if you got any value out of today's Talking Watercolor, please give me a like and hit the subscribe button. Drop me some comments. I do use them. I'm looking at them right now. I have some really good things out here. I'll try to expand upon the brush thing a little further, maybe in further episodes, or even its own episode. So I am trying to develop a list of things to cover in Talking Watercolor and in my videos as well. So let's see here. Yeah, drop me that like, subscribe, and comments. And if, again, my resources out on my website, go to the video description. It'll take you over to my website and download that. And if you think I'm doing anything worthy of financial support, if I'm doing anything worth a damn, head over to my Patreon channel and give me a $5 a month membership. That really helps a lot, helps me keep going here, and hopefully I'll be able to continue giving this free content to everybody who wants to get started on a watercolor, an artist, a drawing journey. So that's what we're doing here. I'm here to help you out. So I'll see you next week talking watercolor.